Ladies and gentlemen, the President of Ukraine. Good evening. My name is Vladimir Zelensky, and I am here to talk briefly about the American people. And we will talk briefly about what trick or treat really means. First, for you American people, each of you, starting on next Monday, to send me $100 out of each of your paychecks because now Israel is taking all of our money. We cannot survive this way. The Russian people are invading us on a daily basis. We need the American people's money. People in America are celebrating your Halloween, but I want to tell you about the Ukrainians' trick or treat. The trick is your United States government. I tricked them into sending me billions of dollars, while the treat is each of them come to my country and I treat them by filling their pockets full of money. That is the exact reasons why Ukraine needs your money. Now a lot of people says, Vladimir, why do you need our money? Who are you? So I tell you a little bit about myself. In my early life, I was an entertainer, a dancer. And here tonight, you will see some of my moves. Matter of fact, I show you now. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let anything scare you. As you would imagine with American television, my dance videos are not ready. So we pull them up as I continue to speak. What happens is the people of Ukraine are starving because I refuse to feed them. I, like people like your Lindsey Graham, come to the Ukraine and I fill his pockets. Your Native American, Elizabeth Warren, comes to Ukraine. I fill her pockets. People of Kentucky, Mitch McConnell, he is a wonderful individual. I fill his pockets. What I enjoy the most as they're dialing up my dancing video now is my greatest friend and ally in America is President Joseph Biden. And my number one friend in the United States is the smartest human being in the United States, Miss AOC. Later tonight, you will see a video that tells you how smart Miss Cortez really is. But as I mentioned earlier, these local news channels that Orange Man calls fake news have now got my dancing video up, one of dancing videos. So I show you what I did in my past life. None of you laugh. You American men wished you had a package that would move like that. When Lindsey Graham comes to Ukraine, he gets to see that package. Except he really enjoys it. And sadly enough, so do I. There are the reasons that the American people are jealous of Vladimir Zelensky. And that is because of my dance moves. My dance moves make the men in America cringe because your women love this. Problem being, I'm not doing it for the women. I'm doing it for the men with packages. So with that, I show you next video of me and my dance moves.
In the middle right now. Dance, dance with me, baby. Dance, dance with me, baby. Dance, dance with me, baby. Got a party tonight. Dance, dance with me, baby. Dance, dance with me, baby. Dance, dance with me, baby. Got a party tonight. In the middle right now, in the middle right now, in the middle right now, in the middle, in the middle right now, in the middle, in the middle right now, in the middle.
If the men in America did not like that, then fuck you. Because those are the best moves you will see. Your America's Got Talent will never move like I do. With that, I am calling on all of the Americans to send me my $100 before your Congress fucks me one more time and sends money to useless Israel. Who gives them if they are bombed? Russia bombs us. We need the money. I am getting an alert that the FBI could possibly be near. I am untouchable because I'm Vladimir Zelensky. If the FBI wishes to move the way that I do, they are ready to attack.
You're under arrest. We're here to get you.
Damn. I guess I go with you now. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Halloween, and you are watching Unleashed with Michael Jeviden and none other than Agent Perry. Here we go. Well, hello, Agent Perry.
How's it going, Mike?
How's it going, man? I told everybody a few weeks ago that we would have Vladimir Zelensky right here on the air tonight.
He is an American celebrity.
He is an American celebrity.
He's known to one and all as an individual that our taxpayers are supporting quite frequently. And I see in the recent news that Joe Biden has asked the United States government for another $24 billion to be sent to your country, Vladimir. You know that our friendship is something of great necessity. And therefore, if we send our money, we know that you will righteously do the right things. We know that.
Well, I mean, the best part about Ukraine is we do the right thing with the Americans' money. We take that money and put it into our bank accounts. And then when your American congressmen and senators come to the Ukraine, they get their cuts. Why the Ukrainian people suffer. But we don't want too many people to know that because there are so many that believe that we are really as pitiful as we put on, but we're not.
I'm at lost for words.
Anyway, I do hope everyone had a good Halloween. I'm going to try to steer clear of where I've been the last few weeks, just a tad bit, as we start off here. I'm going to say, on the way here, I spent about an hour at a trick or treat this evening, and I mean there was a pretty good amount of kids there. And on the way here to town, I saw a lot of vehicles, pulling into places. Actually saw one house actually had a grill fired up and was cooking stuff on the grill. Thought about stopping at that one myself and putting my costume back on, but it's pretty neat. But the only thing I guess I'd really say once I got here into town is if you're a local business here in West Liberty and you did not hand out candy tonight because you do not believe Halloween is a holiday that should be celebrated, then I don't want to hear you complain tomorrow morning because you don't have business. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So now we'll get into the regular part of the show. And it looks like Ukraine is right on the top of Agent Man's list. Agent Man after Donald Trump.
Well, when you think about it, our government, and I don't mean this in a negative way, we as Americans put total faith in our elected officials. And our elected officials have one sole responsibility, and that is to do right by their constituents. Right now, the federal government is looking into the possibility and potential, Mike, of creating more donations and more relief aid for Ukraine, while at the same time, we're spending an enormous amount of money to help with the defense of Israel, which means somewhere in the process, Americans get once again left behind. And I'm not saying we don't need friendships, and I'm not saying that we don't need economic and political ties with countries, because we do. But there comes a point where the United States has to stop fitting the bill for all these military relief, economic relief, political relief efforts on the part of these other countries, and other countries step up to the plate. We're a member of NATO. We pay the largest membership to be a member of that, and that's based on capabilities. Um, it was a proven fact that a lot of these countries were not even paying their membership at all when Donald Trump came to the presidency, and he demanded that they pay what they are required to pay. There had been leniency on a lot of these countries for many years, and that can't happen. For America to be successful, for America to be able to survive, and for Americans to be able to get ahead, we need some of our tax dollars to be spent wisely on us. And if that's not going to happen, I don't know what the future of this country holds.
I have to tell you, because of respect for lawmen, Jesse Bush wants to know if you were dressed as Ray Charles.
No, I'm not Ray Charles. No, I'm not Ray Charles. But
I see Wanda Davis is watching Vladimir on your show. I know Vladimir's dance moves really excite Miss Wanda from last time she saw videos.
Well, the moves that you were putting on there, I would say that the American women just were driven wild. I can say
Oh,
that.
absolutely. Like I said, but the problem being, I don't want to see American women. I look for American men, like Garrett, who's in attendance. So I hear Robert Elam says you are Ronnie Millsap, another American singer. What are the Ukrainian singers? I used to be Ukrainian singer. See, Ukraine.
I needed to be a Secret Service agent and work for Joe Biden. I know he needs somebody to make sure he gets to and from each and every day, and each and every hour, and each and every minute. You know, he does get the opportunity sometimes to get lost on stage. I think there was a video out last week that he couldn't get off of a stage, and he wandered around for probably 5 to 7 minutes trying to find the steps. Then finally, I think his wife went up on stage and escorted him off. It just continues to get worse every single day.
You think that you honestly think somebody in his administration mentioned during the Vladimir Zelensky speech could be worse? And she is a member of our Congress. And while we've got the viewership right now, I want everybody to watch this video because I have seen it for about 3 days now. This is the craziest thing that I have ever heard in my life. But and while we've got the viewers right now, I want to play this video so everybody can see how crazy this really is.
I just had another amazing idea. So, like, maybe we can study the effects of global warming from the main source of all the heat in our solar system, the sun. Maybe I can convince Elon Musk, who is absolutely obsessed with me, by the way, to do something good with SpaceX and figure out a mission to the sun in order to get samples. I suggest we go at night because it would probably be too hot during the day, but we'll leave all that up to the scientists.
Now, this woman was elected as one of your congresswomen. She's wanting, because you go at night, so it's pretty cold out here tonight, so I'm guessing the sun's pretty cool tonight. But if we go at night, because it would be too hot during the day, we could go to the sun and get samples to help with global warming. And I couldn't wait to share that with everybody tonight that may be a fan of this. And I'm thinking, you've got to be.
I think Elon should pay for that and send Alexander.
Yeah, I think
Elon
should actually fund that and send her on the mission and let her get the sample.
Well, she didn't want to vote on the speakership the other day because she said everybody had they needed speakers because everybody had headphones.
What was some of those pictures this morning that you were showing me? How some of the things she was saying, it was a little old making fun of her jokes.
She doesn't capitalize her letters. She only uses lowercase because she's against capitalism. And someone told her they saw alligators that were 18 feet, and she said she's only seen the ones with 4.
And as they say, the hits just keep on coming.
If this lady was a part of our Kentucky group that we would have to elect, I probably would never vote again.
I just want to see the district that votes for her because it's.
Well, I want to say she's from the great state of New York, the Empire State.
Well, like I told Deborah earlier or last night, we were talking about it. I said, and it's no offense against the Muslim people. I mean, there's a lot of good Muslim people, but I said, there must be a lot of crazy ass Muslims in her district that knows that she has to be that crazy that would vote for her.
Well, it may not necessarily be that. There could be a lot of, you talk about New York. New York is very diverse. It's got a very large ethnic minority population, and she probably serves practical means for that group. When she was elected, she was $8,000 in debt. This lady now is worth millions.
That by Soros,
that goes to tell you. We've got a problem in our government. These people roughly make right around about $200 and some thousand. Well, actually, it's $174,000 a year they make, and these people like her, who was $8,000 in debt, who's not been in there over a long period of time, is now worth millions. It says something about it says a lot about what our government is about right now. They're lobbyists, these big companies, these big corporations, these regulatory commissions. They are all making major decisions. One of the things Donald Trump campaigned on, and when he came to office, he basically talked about was there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, and that's what we have right now. We have a lot of chiefs in the government. Every one of them think they're as powerful as the other, and then right so they give off the impression that they don't like one another when that is anything but the truth. They're one big club, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, and like I said, I'm not taking sides here, one or the other. You've got people like Mitch McConnell, who has basically done everything in his power to sell out the constituents in his own district. He sold out the constituents in the state as a state senator, and now he sold out constituents across the country in America. He, Lindsey Graham, we got rhinos and we got dinos, and we got people that are one big club, and those people don't care about Americans. At what point do we start putting in term limits so that we can get these people who have lost sight of reality, lost sight of what their job is about, and get people in there that care about America first, and let's put initiatives in place that allow this country to grow prosperous and become what it is, and get we've got problems here. Problems being, you talk about student loans, big problem. You talk about credit card debt, big problem. You talk about mortgage rates, big problem. You talk about taxation, big problem. We spend, people don't know this, 0.5% of every penny of a tax dollar's spendings goes to NASA. And we're trying to worry about going into space, looking for possibly trying to determine the effects of global warming by going to the sun, which is probably the stupidest idea. There's no way in the world you would ever get within radius of the sun because of the extensive heat and the rays, and it would burn you up. I don't care what kind of ship you create. It's not going to happen, but it would be.
You can at night.
But well, at nighttime, it cools off. The sun goes down. Everything.
The people of Ukraine will donate some of our billions of dollars to fund this mission, because the American people, the American taxpayers, don't need no money anyway. So we send dumbass people to Mars and then now head to the moon. You talk about a rhino. Those are wonderful human beings.
I call him
Mitch
Rhino.
McConnell is wonderful. He made billions off of me. Lindsey Graham loves me and my package. And I make millions from him as long as as he makes millions from me. And then Native American Elizabeth Warren. She does not look like Native American, but we dress her anyway.
Well, I think what happens in this country, and like I said, I'm not particularly picking on Elizabeth Warren, but when we run for political office and we need votes, we sometimes identify as something different than what we are. I'll give you a good example. Kamala Harris identified as an African American, which, I'm not going to doubt that she's not an African American, but she also identified as an Indian American. And, you're either one or the other, or,
maybe a mixture of
maybe,
it. If you're a mixture of it, you're white.
That's great. But the thing is, she did that because it favored the political voters in her district to try to get her elected. And I'm looking at you, and it's not only her. We've got others that are doing the same thing on the same side of the aisle that most of us vote for. So
Katrina Gillum says maybe they will go live when they do the. That would be wonderful. I would like to see a live video of the mission to Sun.
Okay, here. You got off on that topic of Ukraine. I go back to Rand Paul.
Now make sure you talk about Ukraine.
Okay. My thing with Rand Paul is this. Rand Paul has demanded that there be some type of committee that internally reviews and has oversight of every dollar that is spent. We still do not have that in place. Yet we're sending billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, Israel, and we don't know what it's being spent on. As taxpayers, we would feel much more comfortable if we knew what it was being allocated for. If you show me on paper this is what it's going for, and you've got substantiated data to back it up, I'm okay with that.
You mean like Zelensky needs food for his people,
or he needs a yacht?
He spends it on FTX.
He goes to.
You want to see where my money goes? I show you tattoo on my ass. So,
and your $6 billion yacht that you spend a lot of time on during your vacation from your government.
Don't forget about the $34 million mansion in Miami, Florida.
That's exactly right.
Agent Man, would you like to come to my mansion in Florida?
If I come to your mansion, I'm probably going to raid it. I'm going to do everything I can.
You've been known to raid places in Miami area.
I have. That's true.
But now you can come.
Mar-a-Lago was one of the places that me and my agency raided. We took it upon ourselves to go look for important documents that we believed Donald Trump had in his possession. And we weren't able to find those, but that didn't keep us from searching.
You can come to my mansion in Miami and soak in AOC sun. The same sun that will have samples collected soon for global warming. See, sun not as hot in Ukraine as in America. So we don't fuck with that.
Could one of them documents they was looking for Mar-a-Lago be Executive Order 13848?
I would say that those documents that they were looking for were what we call the Continuancy of Government and the PEDS Act. And for those of you that don't know what those are, I would encourage you to do your research and look them up. PEDS, PEADS, PEDS.
I like PEDS.
You like anything that's American funded is what you like.
I like American funded stuff. Anything sent to my Ukraine.
You probably like PEDS.
Well, you are a movie star. How many of our American movie stars? Sean Penn came to your country. I want to say, what's the guy's name? Well, you had Mitch McConnell, you had Nancy Pelosi, you had Chuck Schumer that came to
Would you
visit
like to see video of Chuck Schumer dancing like me? I didn't think so. No, so does nobody else.
Didn't you two put on a concert over there?
Yes, you two did do a concert in the subway at the same time that the war between Russia and Ukraine was going on, which leads me to believe that there's a lot of speculation that something's fishy. Usually, if there's smoke, there's probably fire.
Except in my Ukraine, there's never no smoke or fire. Only on television, where you fake news people and you believers, liberals, believe what the damn media tells you. I just steal your money. What do we do to get? What do we get by giving money and military equipment to these other countries? And what do we get? And what do we get? We get the shaft.
Is that not the truth?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we abandoned $85 billion worth of military equipment in Afghanistan. We left behind American military as well as American ambassadors and consuls in Afghanistan. Basically told them you have to fend for yourself and get out of this country. We basically took out the military personnel before we took out the military equipment. We did it completely backwards of what it should have been. There should have been an evacuation of American military personnel, evacuation of equipment, and evacuation of troops. Instead, we did it completely backwards. But this is not the only time we've done this. We've also done this in Africa as well. And then just here recently with Israel, the Americans that are there working for the embassies and the consuls have been told, you have to get out and you will fit the bill for your evacuation. You know, they're state personnel. They work for the State Department. Anton Blinken, he knows better. Why in the world does Joe Biden not look out after these people, safely evacuate them, get them out, and then take the necessary precautions?
Do you not feel like that if we have an oversight committee and they're like having to account for those
There were
money being sent to Zelensky,
Zelensky,
Iraq, Iran, Israel, and all them? Do you not think that less money would be funneled because it could be funneled back to our politicians?
I'm going to honestly look at you and tell you that there would be less money spent. And if there's less money spent, that means there's more money in the hands of taxpayers.
That's right. That's what I think. I think it's just
the oversight committee will never happen for one reason.
They'll never get the votes.
They'll never get the votes. And the reason they'll never get the votes is because
you have too many dirty.
You have too many people in Washington that are part of the swamp. And I don't want people to get confused and think that, you know, well, he's talking only about one political party. I'm not. I'm talking about both of them. They are both there.
Robert Elam said it best here. Let's fund the trip to the sun and send Democrats and Rhino Republicans on the first trip. And I agree with that. Now you mentioned a minute ago before we move on, and I'm sure you've got. I know you've got it wrote down. I didn't see it. The other night, my phone blew up, and I'm like, "What the heck?" I mean, I got like 40 messages on Messenger, and every one of them wanted to know what happened to you. And I'm like, "Well, he's on Facebook right now, so what's wrong with him?"
I need you to be careful.
Oh, well, I just heard he died. You know, there's people saying rip to Matthew Perry online, and I'm like, well, hell, I think I would know if something happened. Come to find out, it was the actor, Matthew. So for the people tuning in tonight to see if he's really here.
I came back from the dead.
He's come back from the dead. Right here he is. You know, he is here. You know, it wasn't this guy. So
I get a phone call Saturday night. This was kind of funny. I'm sitting at my house watching TV, got both my dogs on my couch, and my son calls me. He says, I've received about 50 phone calls.
I know the feeling.
He said, I've received 50 phone calls that you had tragically passed away. He said, I guess you're all right, aren't you? I said, well, I guess I'm all right. I'm breathing and I'm talking. I said, I'm sitting here. He said, well, Matthew Perry, the actor, passed away. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. He can't be much more than 55 years of age. And I looked it up. I think he's 54.
54.
Supposedly died in a hot tub, having drowned. I got some issues with that. And the reason I say that is because
it's not you, for one.
It's not me.
For one. like I said, even Katrina said, "Oh my God, yes, I thought the same thing." So the first one I seen was just a regular person put on Facebook, "Rip Matthew Perry," and I'm like, "Huh?" So I go straight to Messenger, and you're online, and I'm like, "Huh, okay." So, well, huh. And then the message, the messages started a funneling. And what's wrong with what happened to Matthew? What happened? And I'm like, well, I don't know. He just texted me about 10 minutes ago. So, damn, I mean, news must spread fast because, I don't know. I mean,
Well, I was sitting at the house, and like I said, I hadn't turned anything on major that was a news source.
I've
So I had no
learned
idea.
not to even watch the news.
I had no idea that he even passed away until my son called. My son's like, "Yeah, Matthew Perry passed away." He said everybody keeps calling me saying, "Are you okay? Is everything all right? I know you're probably tore up that your dad's passed away." And I'm like, "What are these people we talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, the actor Matthew Perry died." And I'm just like, "It is what it is." But he's 54 years of age, very very young.
Just wrote a book.
And there was some speculation that he had some events coming up that may have led to some suspicious activity.
Well, Lawrence said, how do you drown in a hot tub? Couldn't you just stand up? I've never seen a hot tub that's over my head."
Well,
and that's true. I've been in hot tubs before when we've been on vacation in places.
Sometimes
I've never been in one that's over waist high.
But it's not hard to drown in a hot tub if somebody's possibly holding you under.
Well,
That could possibly have happened. So, before he died, 8 days before he died, the last 7 to 8 days, he was posting stuff that had to do with Batman on his Twitter page. And there is speculation that, and I say this, he called himself Matman, not Batman, Matman. And there's speculation that he was supposed to testify against the Clintons for some wrongdoings. And it seems like every time somebody gets attached to the Clintons, something terribly goes wrong or south pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's one that hung himself with a shotgun.
Talk about Seth Rich. Seth Rich is one of the most famous people in America. Seth Rich came forth and basically conveyed that Hillary Clinton had deleted hundreds of thousands of emails on her personal server. Here you have a state employee, a State Department employee that is using her own personal computer, her own PC, rather than a government issued PC to send emails, and those emails were deleted. Now, people are going to look at me and say, "You don't know what you're talking about. Once again, you're being a conspiracy theorist." You don't have to take my word for it. Go do your own research, and you'll find that Seth Rich confirmed there was 33,000 emails that had been deleted. What happened to Seth Rich? Now, shortly after there, bang, gone. And now all the talk about those 33,000 deleted emails simply evaporated. However, I am going to say that probably put a tarnishment on her presidential bid. But I'm hearing that she quite possibly might run for president again against Donald Trump. I hope so. I'd like to see her get beat again.
you talk about my people this way. You talk about it's happening. Nothing, no worse than my good buddy Epstein. What happened to him? Because he was talking about Clintons. But like Chris Rouse says here, talk about filing tax exempt. So far, the government has taken $29,000 and some change out of his check this year. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well,
That goes to the Ukrainian people.
Well, it goes along with the inflationary issues that we have in this country. I talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. I'll talk about it tonight. 9.1% inflationary interest rates. The interest rate is extremely high. When Biden inherited the country, it was 1.5%. Gas was approximately, I want to say, $1.87 a gallon. You know, you could go into any grocery outlet and for probably $1 something, you could get a gallon of milk, maybe $2 at the max.
Go down here
You
and
know,
try to do that right now.
you can't do it. You can't do it. And the consumer, the citizen, the people that are out here working to make this country go round are the ones that are being the hardest hit. And I keep saying it. The middle class can't continue to fit the bill for all of these extravagancies that you want with your country and all the unnecessaries that we have in trying to provide all the economic, political, and military aid to other countries. We can only do so much. There has to be a world committed effort, and some of these countries are not. They're not willing to participate. Therefore, if they're not willing to participate, then we shouldn't want. We shouldn't participate at the extent that we're doing. I'm not saying not give people money that are in need, but we've got people right here in America that are in dire need. We got citizens suffering. Citizens can't pay their light bills, can't pay their electric bills, can't pay their heating bills, can't afford to pay their rent because of the way wages are. And the standard of living continues to go up, but wages continue to stay relatively the same. Makes it hard, Mike.
They keep sending money to me.
Let's not forget taxpayer money going to illegal immigrants too, from free Medicare to free telephones.
Well, you know, I mentioned this today to somebody. This weekend you have the annual Army and Navy football game. I don't know if you know that was getting ready to happen. And New Yorkers, the game typically happens at West Point, New York. I want to say it's in New York this year. Typically, the president always comes. Hotel reservations are made within limits to family members of military personnel that are participating in the games as well as members of their families. They can't get rooms to stay overnight because of the illegal immigrants that have been put up in these hotels because this administration continues to allow the border to be flooded at a mass number. However, let me say this. At one time, you had people like the mayor of New York who was adamantly for, and I can let you see this. He gave a speech in which he said, "We welcome people of diversity. We want these people to come into our city. We want these people to come here." He's not saying that now. He's changed his approach, and so too have the Biden administration. They're not. They asked Joe Biden when he became president, are you going to continue with the continuation of the wall? Not 1 inch of that wall will be built or continued. Now, all of a sudden, they're talking about building 20 to 40 to 100 feet of that wall. Well, they've changed their perspectives on this because you've got a flood and an invasion. We've got troops all around the world, but we don't have them where we're being invaded the most.
So why is your agency not doing anything about that?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not saying that my agency is not internally looking at people. We're doing everything in our power to make sure that we can get Donald Trump off the ballot. We've also moved into states like Colorado, and we've convinced the legislators to try to remove his name from the ballot altogether. We're doing everything we can to attack the people that pose the greatest threat to us, Mike.
And for anybody that's just joining us, that's probably wondering what in the world's going on. This is Agent Perry, FBI, and I am Vladimir Zelensky of the great country of Ukraine, where all of your money goes. I talked about Elizabeth Warren and Lindsey Graham. Here's video of reading this.
It's nice to see you. Very nice to see you.
Do you know Lindsey Graham?
Yes, we know each other very well.
And we're back for the fourth time.
The first time.
Fourth trip. One more trip, we're in the eighth.
They come see me for the fourth time. But the only thing about the video I had to people was, damn, did you see how jacked I was in the video? That's what I get for doing my dance moves. Send me billions. So.
I think something other that Biden wasn't going to be on the New Hampshire ballot ticket. He didn't file to be on the New Hampshire.
Well, let me say this. When you talk about presidential candidates, right now, yesterday, I want to say Mike Pence dropped out
Mike Pence has dropped out.
He has officially dropped out of the presidential race.
He was supposedly the big dog.
Well, he's not a big dog. He's a small pup in a big pond, or a little fish in a big pond. Let's put it that way. A lot of these guys that are vying, Ron DeSantis, and you've got another candidate. What's his name?
Vivek Ramaswamy.
I'm going to tell you, they don't have a chance to win the Republican nomination.
But now Chris Christie does.
I'm just going to tell you, I got a better chance of winning the nomination than Chris Christie does. And I don't mean that mean towards Chris Christie.
But Krispy Kreme donuts.
I mean, on election night 2020, he was very adamant that they called the election for Joe Biden. He, in my opinion, he is a rhino. He wants everybody to think that he's supportive of Americans when I think that is anything but the case.
Nikki wants to know why I always wear same green shirt.
That is a good question. Why do you always wear the same?
My favorite color is green. Because you're Americans. Lousy pricks. Send me your tax dollar money. And I just get richer. And I fuck around and make people think that we're getting bombed by Russia. But actually, Vladimir Putin is my daddy. And I know this very well. He spanked my ass if I get out of hand. But Americans are so stupid, like Joseph R. Biden. They continue to send me green. Perry, 2024. So, do you think that you can get more votes than Chris Christie?
I have no doubt in my mind I can get more votes than Christie. I don't think he's got a chance. Well, he keeps running because there's hope that one day things may change and that everybody may support the corruption and thus vote for him. Hold up. I'm going to look at you and tell you, sometimes you think these political candidates dislike one another. Do they really care whether they win or not?
No.
No, they don't care. I mean, I'll give you an example. Al Gore and George W. Bush ran for president. It came down to the state of Florida, where Jeb Bush was the governor, and there were what we would call, if you remember this, hanging chads, where the ballots had some irregularities. And thus, when it was all said and done and the ballots were counted, votes were given to George W. Bush, and he won the presidency. Did it really, really, really damage the reputation and image of Al Gore? No, because he was Mr. Environmental. He basically has got rich trying to push this global warming campaign. And what's happening? We continue to finance it. It wouldn't surprise me one bit, Mike, if the U.S. government doesn't appropriate funds for us to go to the sun and try to get samples so that we can understand the effects of global warming.
I've got on the screen here, I'll even pull it up here. It says, who are you voting for if these are the only two choices of 2024? So if you've got Chris Christie or Joe Biden, who are you voting for?
Well, I would probably write myself in.
I can say I'm writing in Matthew.
Go ahead and vote for me. If you want to write me in, I'll take the nomination. That'd be okay.
Okay, if that were actuality, you could write in Donald Trump, right? Like if
I
they
would
try
imagine
to pull him from the ballots, can people write him in?
I would imagine so, because I still even think that Trump himself would somehow or another be on a ballot as a write-in.
Like if Colorado succeeds, can people still write his name in?
Well, right now, what America needs, and let's just be honest, and like I said, I'm taking all political candidates out of the mix. We've got some major issues that have to be addressed by somebody. One, we've got soaring inflation. The inflationary rate is out of control in this country. Products are going up, wages are staying the same. We are in a far worse situation than we were 4 years ago. It seemed like there was a lot of economic prosperity during the times of Trump. Now, I'll be the first to tell you this. I loved the policies that Trump stood for. He was America first. It was all about trying to put more money in the average American's pockets, $6,000 more a year, Mike. However, I think Trump could have went at it a different approach. I think sometimes his boisterous personality caused people to dislike him, and people can only take so much. And he is abrasive. He's a businessman. He ran America like a business. And during that 4 years, he showed that America can be highly prosperous if we have incentives and we don't back down from these people. One, if you want a country to be as powerful as we are and as we should be, then we have to be the leader of the economic, political, and government structures around the world. We have to be the one that are telling them what to do rather than them telling us what to do. When we say jump, they should say how high. If we're fitting the bill, that should be the way it is. However, right now, we've got problems where people around the world mock us. People around the world make fun of us. They look at Joe Biden as a weak individual. And I don't mean that being mean because, listen, the man is 80 plus years of age. He's older. He is, and it comes to all of us. Age is something that happens that none of us can surpass. We're all going to one day be in a position where we start to deteriorate. He's deteriorated, and then very quickly over the last 3 years, it's got progressively worse.
The idea
But
that the but the nature, not when the political coverage that look, some of the political players and some of the let me ask a rhetorical question. No, I won't. Anyway.
So you're telling me that that's a man that's deteriorating?
well, and like I said, it's extremely sad because you don't want to see that for anybody. And as a compassionate human being, you want people to be at their best when they're in front of the camera. And he's not always at his best. Sometimes it's extremely bad, and it makes people around the world, Mike, view us as an extremely weak country because what is the most powerful position in within the global world? It's the president of the United States.
It would be the president of Ukraine.
Well, Republican or Democrat, either one, you want a president that wouldn't put his pants in front of the Pope.
I agree with that 100%. But
I never shit my pants. You crazy Americans.
But right now, when you look at the state of the economy, you look at all the issues that we're dealing with in the Middle East, and I say this, the Middle East, the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, made a comment this week, Mike. Here was his comment. The Middle East is quieter today than it has been for the past 2 decades. We went 4 years under the Trump administration and did not have a single war going on in the world. And since Trump has left, what has happened?
Oh my goodness, we're now Ukraine.
10 wars, 0 charges.
Yeah.
And you've got right now China is mobilizing their military in preparation to take over Taiwan. People are not aware of this. It's happening. You've got the situation with Hamas and Israel over in Gaza. And I don't know if you saw this. There was believed to be a missile fired by Hamas within Gaza. And when it was all said and done, that missile was actually fired by Israelis. Mm. So the missile that ended up causing severe damage, I want to say it was to a hospital, that they found that it was fired by the Israelis. So the media reported it. Now, you talk about the media. the media has the ability to control what we get information on. Correct. That thus has a very powerful impact on our thought process. I want to ask you this, Mike. Everybody in this room and everybody that's watching, see if you know this. Now listen close. The media has yet to report this. A category 5 hurricane hit Acapulco, Mexico 3 days ago. A category 5. Started off as a tropical
Absolutely
storm
destroyed it.
and absolutely has waylaid this place.
They
50 right now to date. I saw to date 43 people have died, and the media has yet to report
it looked like when that helicopter flew over, that I saw on the video on here, it looked like a bomb and went off and just destroyed. I mean, it just flattened. I mean,
Did you know about it?
No, I didn't even know about it. So why are they not reporting it?
Because it looks like, and I don't know if you've seen visual images of what is
I'm
taking
trying to
place.
see if I can find
the
it.
visual images look like Lahaina, the island of Hawaii.
There's a lot of questions there.
There's a lot of question marks about what happened there. The fact that the fire that ensued there, a lot of people think was a forest fire, a fire that just, blew out of control, grew intensively, forced people to retreat, and
put those people in a position. What I saw, some of them was that they said that they've been pressured to sell their property to developers and stuff, but they weren't giving in, and they had a group that was trying to fight it, but they had enacted a law over there that if a catastrophe had happened and the government deemed it as, I guess, unlivable or whatever, then the government could take the property. And so they're saying that they felt like it was weird that these mansions and everything it was missed, but all this property they'd been trying to get burned.
Right here on your screen right now is some footage, coming from
Acapulco.
Yeah. Category 5.
And it's only showing on this, my screen's is showing a lot bigger view than what this one is showing. I don't know if I can edit that setting down or not. Let's see what we can do here. That's too
but the media has yet to report this. Why is the media not reporting this?
I mean, it just looks like a bomb has went off in some of those locations. And
any other time it would meet their narrative. Am I correct?
Yeah, so what's the deal?
So what's going on?
Well, I'll pull it up here real fast. Here was an image of it.
Started off as a tropical storm, and within about 4 to 5 hours, it turned into a category 5
that's an absolute
hurricane.
Monster of a storm, and then went right through there.
Okay, if that hit the U.S. mainland, I guarantee you that would be top news. There would be complete 24.
Well, the Weather Channel would be there 3 days before, they'd ever even got
24/7 coverage. We would know detail by detail. But yet this hits Acapulco, Mexico, and not a single word has been stated about it. Leads you to believe that there's something fishy going on. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, there's definitely something going on there.
Going back to Maui, how come none of the mainstream media even talk about it anymore? And how come they have never interviewed the first parents that's lost children, or the children that's lost parents and homes and everything?
That's a good question. I really don't know the answer to that. But you would think there would be a lot more media coverage, especially because it's Americans that have been affected. But, they reported on it, but I don't know if they gave every detail as what we're normally accustomed to hearing.
Here's something I know everybody will love to see. Let me pull this up. What do you say, Grant? I'm going to pull this up real fast. It's actually snowing in Lexington, Kentucky right now.
Right now? Great.
So I got it live here for everybody to see.
But the media has yet to report this.
Mr. Grant, are you calling in to speak to Vladimir Zelensky?
Grant.
Are you wanting to talk to Vladimir Zelensky?
I ain't got much to say to him right now. I done talked to him last week.
I come to your old mill park and take those protesters out.
Well, you take them to, I guess, a good restaurant around here, I guess, or something. I don't know.
I take them to have a cup of coffee.
There you go.
What's going on, man?
Not much. I heard you had Jim Cantori there with you.
Yeah. I've got Jim Cantori here.
I didn't know if that's Jim Cantori or J.J. Dillon. I didn't know. Oh, how's everybody tonight?
So are you calling in to give us a rundown of Chris Christie's campaign?
Are you his campaign? Are you his campaign manager?
I just got back from New Jersey, and they had the toll booths closed, and it took me a little longer.
Hey, Grant, have you seen the video of the hockey player getting killed on the ice?
Yes, I have. It is so horrible.
I know I really don't want to show it on the air, but I'm going to show it on the air briefly. I mean, do you think this is an accident or not? Watch this.
No.
Wham! No. There's no way. There's no way that's an accident. He throws his leg up. And like I said, I'm not going to show that many times because the guy actually pretty much gets impaled on the ice.
Yes. But, I mean, the guy's been kicked out. The guy that done this, I guess he's going to get manslaughter charges.
Well, he should.
Never play hockey again. Yes, he should, because from what I've read, he got kicked out about every game or got more penalties than anybody. So, very dirty player. Wasn't worried about sportsmanship. He ain't got no business in the game. And now there's a guy that's lost his life, a young guy, and his wife. I seen there's a very attractive couple, and it's such a good future. It looked like they just got good peoples, and for this to happen, it was just a horrible tragedy that was uncalled for. They shouldn't have let him keep playing with as many penalties, and I think he's suspended 2 out of the last 4 games.
Well, I mean, that right there should be enough to keep him off the ice. And then they turn around and trying to say he's using this as an accident. That's no accident. You can't just run towards somebody and throw your leg up, especially when you got basically a titanium, like a razor sharp knife on your shoe, and and that's like a sweet chin music from WWE days, right to the throat. I mean,
it was uncalled for. No, they ought to charge him, and that's. You look at the video. I mean, there's no question about it. I don't think.
Let me ask this question: do you guys find it odd that every time something happens in this country, immediately there's something to create a distraction? And
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to say that bad towards this young man, because, like I said, you never want to see anybody lose their life doing something they enjoy doing and something that horrific. But it seems like every time there's information that comes out on something, they want it to be quietened so something else comes out. Like, give an example: the Maine shooting, the shooting that took place up in Maine with military personnel. It seems like there was a lot of heat being put on Biden, and the impeachment inquiry was starting to heat up, and the issue was starting to come to the forefront. And then all of a sudden, this shooting takes place in Maine. And now you've got this tragic, horrific accident on the ice that will be replayed and replayed and replayed on media stations, and it'll have people's tension for hours upon hours upon hours. And it takes away from this other stuff. And typically, it's always something that is tragic. You take like the shooting in Maine, where the guy goes in and just starts shooting people up. And and I have my reservations, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, because we know it probably did. But I've got my concerns with a military personnel who is, a trained.
He was a trained marksman and instructor.
Yeah, that would just, I understand people suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome, and, our veterans are probably not taken care of enough, and that, our military probably needs to do a better job, when de-escalating these people when they've come back from war and situations of that. And I'm not talking about our military. I'm just saying it's of grave concern, especially when it comes to a military veteran who has seen things and done things that most people don't even know anything about.
Well, I think our country makes it that some of them know things and have been on missions that they want hush hush. And that I had a veteran come in here and he was talking about how they tried to offer them a bigger check if they would submit that they had more PTSD. The higher the PTSD, the more severe it was, the higher the check they would get. But he said in that if he had went along with that and if others had went along with that, then they would be flagged and they wouldn't be able to purchase guns. So he said that they were in a catch-22.
And the day before this shooting occurred in Maine, Kamala Harris had posted something on her media site that there should be a complete and absolute ban on assault rifles. And then less than 24 hours later, you get another shooting that takes place in this country.
They use that to distract people because they talk about assault weapon ban every time you turn around, and all it does is increase sales on assault and every firearm is an assault weapon if it's used as such.
So what are you thinking about it, Grant?
Well, it is
don't want to forget you there.
Subject. Well, no, I mean, here's what I keep thinking about, and I don't know if y'all saw this. You had the concert there at Israel, and the hundreds that was slaughtered there, and I just think, what if, we didn't have the guns? What if they'd had guns there? Would it have saved a bunch of them? They wouldn't have been caught off surprise. And it just makes you think, if nobody's got a gun around, you see what they're doing. They just run around and picked off. And it's very sad that I don't know what Israel's gun laws are or anything, but I just think of here and just think of, how great that we live in a great nation that we can, have that protection. That, you take the millions of people in the United States and we hear these shootings and they're awful, but at the same time, how many people's lives are prevented by being able to protect yourself?
Yeah, I mean, if people didn't have guns, there'd be a lot more shootings and a lot more murders and, more than what, there already are. I mean, there was a guy, in a church a couple of years ago that, saved the mass shooting inside that church because he was armed in the church. So, I mean...
Well,
I think it's Texas, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And guns are always going to be a controversial issue because, they're readily available. You don't, a lot of people say, well, you got to go through all the proper paperwork to get a gun. We all know that if you really want access to something bad enough, you probably could find it, and pretty quickly.
Well, like Deborah said too, they get on television and holler, "It's an assault weapon! It's an assault." I mean, you can have a little .22 pistol that fits in the palm of your hand that shoots a couple of rounds and can walk in and shoot people with it. No, it's an assault rifle, assault pistol, So I mean, just because it don't have to be, an AR-15 that you walk into these places. I mean, you can walk in with a handgun, a friggin' pellet gun. They've got pellet guns now that shoot hard as a .22 rifle does, or harder. So I mean, they try to blame it on the gun, and that's the most ridiculous part about it.
We have a mental health crisis going on in this country right now, and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. A lot of that came when COVID occurred because people were isolated in their homes. They were not allowed to socialize, not allowed to basically live their lives, and being cooped up and cramped up by yourself, and it plays mind games on you, and people's minds tend to wander, and they do things that may not be rational. So we do have a mental health crisis in this country. Instead of looking at the issue of guns, we need to probably do a better job of looking at the individuals and trying to get them help so that we can prevent these problems.
They should have a way of flagging them, but HIPAA prevents a lot of that stuff. And in the long run, unless you've been adjudicated in court, well, it takes quite a bit for you to be adjudicated in court as mentally ill. But if you're a therapist...
Katrina was talking here in the comments. She says his family said that he started hearing voices the day after he got his hearing aids. So, I mean, the guy was already having problems. He had already... think he had a little bit of a stay in an institution, before then. So, I mean, that automatically right there... you get arrested and charged with a felony, you lose your gun anyway, your gun right. So why not, if you're put in some type of mental state, why shouldn't you, at least temporarily, your guns should be taken at that point, and it should be reported to any state that you live in, the way I believe in it anyway.
I just don't think they do a good job of flagging that. It's all self-report on the sheet, and only if you're adjudicated in court. Well, who's going to say, yes, I'm mentally ill, or I've just heard voices if you're wanting to get guns? It's the same way, though. I mean, you can use other things. They could use a car, fertilizer. Timothy McVeigh used fertilizer.
Grant, how was trick or treat tonight down there?
Well, I was going to say, I'd like to see places like Pathways and Mountain Cough and stuff pay more, to have more therapists, to have more training. That way, they're not trying to hunt for something else because it's so low pay, and their headaches are so full of people that come in and talk to them. But I wish they had more pay, more incentive to get people and keep people that are to help with this mental stuff. And there's not Pathways or Mountain Comp. I'm just using that because that's two of the main ones around here. But I'm saying nationwide. I think that is a very, very sought after. That the pay rate compared to the workload is just unbearable from what I've seen in the past. And my heart goes out to them people that try their best to help people. And I believe it is. I believe that's a good starting point there. So trick or treat. Let's go to we'll get something happy now. Trick or treat.
Let's get a little bit of local in here tonight. So
yes, sorry about that. Like I said, I just got in. I wanted to holler at y'all. It was a great tourism, City of West Liberty. All the people that came out. It was good to see all the kids dressed up and the families having so much fun and people enjoying interacting with each other tonight. It was a great thing. Mayor Kyle Reisner, he really put forth effort, and like I said, it was such a good event tonight.
That's wonderful. I don't know how you do it, but I had some people earlier tonight asking about where trick or treat was 6 to 8. Could the trick or treat times be switched to 7 to 9? Where trick or treat could be done in the dark instead of the daylight. I was asked that earlier, and I said, well, I know some people that I could ask that to, so why not do it while I got someone on the air and see what.
We were talking about that. We had weather, the
well, now tonight was one of them nights where you'd even talked about if it would have come up earlier, you probably would have had it Saturday night.
Right.
When it was 75 degrees.
Right. We just had so much planned in so many businesses, and the fire department was awesome, and the emergency and dispatch and the sheriff and the West Liberty Police Department. Everybody really, everybody had it scheduled, and everybody done such a wonderful job, handing out stuff and that was something that we're going to try to look at this year. I know the weather Saturday night would have been so much better, but it's one of the things you don't have you just kind of roll the dice with. And tonight was actually a little bit better than if it had been last night or the night before when it rained and was cold. And,
right.
So we got lucky tonight. I said about 7 degrees is about all the leeway I think we had for making it miserable on them kids and stuff. But I think we're going to try to look at maybe times for next year, maybe looking at weekends, because a lot of parents work and stuff, and try to get home and get the kids ready. And I know it makes it a little Henderson, but you got to do what you got to do. But it's just kind of hard when you plan out ahead of time, to know what the weather in Kentucky is going to be. But I think it went really good, despite what the fears was last week, or of the weather tonight. So
like I said when I come on the air tonight, I was up the Candle City way and doing a trick or treat thing up there, and there was a pretty good number of kids that stopped in up there. It was probably one of the bigger ones in recent years. And then on the way to town, I saw kids all along the side of the roads, and so it was great. Getting to see everybody. As bad as the weather is and as cold, to still see kids out.
Well, and November, and we're going to cross our fingers on the next event. The next event will be November the 11th. It's a Saturday night. We're going to try to start at about 4:30. That's going to be the Veterans Day presentation. We're going to have it, and we're going to have, a salute to the veterans, and then we're going to have history of Morgan County because it's the 200-year anniversary of Morgan County, and West Liberty's just a few steps behind that. So we're going to have all that on November the 11th. We're going to have, like I said, the presentation. We're going to have people from different parts of the county tell the history on Eazell and Wrigley and Candle City and, I don't know where all else. I'm just one person on this. There's Judge Jim Gazay, David Bradley, Chelsea Cantrell, Langley Franklin. I know, they've been working on this as well, and some other people. And if I forgot anybody's name, I do apologize. But, we're going to have that, and we're going to have a concert after the presentation and the Veterans Service. For the 200-year anniversary, we're going to have Midlife Crisis. They're an Eastern Kentucky-based band that plays at Myrtle Beach. They play at Charleston, West Virginia.
Lead singer.
They're a great group of guys. They basically look like if us three got up there with guitars and started singing and drums. That's they're just common Joes. I love the guys.
A good looking bunch.
A good looking bunch. I agree. Yes, good looking bunch.
I've got Chris asked here in the comments. He said, "Who's on the phone?" Chris, this is the West Liberty City Councilman Grant Sarl. He tunes in to our show on a weekly basis, and he's so popular these days in the county that he actually has his own segment each week on the show where he comes on and gives a local report. So,
well, I don't know about all that, but I do thank you.
I mean, he's made it to the big time now where he actually gets his own segment. So
as Flair would say, bright lights, big cities, and our name on the marquee, right? So then after the concert is going to be fireworks. We'll have a little fireworks show. So we didn't get to have it at Sargon Festival. We're going to have some fireworks after the concert that night. So definitely it starts at 4:30.
What is that? What night is that on? Thursday?
No,
Saturday?
No, it's on a Saturday.
That's opening day of gun season.
Well,
yeah, goodness. Hopefully, I'll kill a deer before then. So.
Yeah, you're good. You'll get one before that.
Yeah.
If not, you got more days. But come out to Oatmeal Park. If it is bad weather, which I've been watching it like a hawk, and it looks like it's going to be decent. It's going to be up in the upper 50s, I think, is what it was. Now, it could change by then. But if something was to happen, then we'll have the concert and the presentation in the gymnasium at the courthouse annex, the old middle school.
All right, so the concert, I got a question here from Sammy. When is this concert? It's November the 11th, and what was the time again?
We're going to start the presentation about 4:30, so the concert should start about 5:15 and go till close to 7, and then the fireworks since it gets started.
All right, and this will be in O'Mill Park unless it's like tonight, and then it'll be moved.
Yeah, it'll be moved, but we'll try to get word out as good as we can, But right now we're going to shoot for O'Mill Park.
Well, hopefully, I mean, there's times in November where it gets up in the 60s and 70s, so hopefully, we can.
Yep. So we're happy to honor veterans, happy to honor Morgan County, West Liberty, all of our towns in this great county, and then, like I said, have a great concert with, they play Foreigner, they play Bad Company, they play Whitesnake, Def Leppard, the good famous tunes that everybody grew up with. So
well, that sounds amazing.
Good feeling, good up in your soul feeling, rock and roll. Bob Seger, Billy Squire, whatever, it's going
I
to be
think
good.
If he keeps talking, I am going to be on stage singing with him.
There you go. Well, I get you up there. They might need some backup singers that night. So we're going to get Coach Perry up there, too. He's going to get the bass going.
Yeah, he will.
Okay. So, but other than that, everything in the county is as far as all that's going good, and I appreciate you guys having me on here so I can at least let people know, let your audience know what to be looking forward. And that's going to be the last event until we get to Christmas, and then of course we'll have the ice skating rink for a little bit.
We have got to go live ice skating, Matthew.
Where's that at? Where's the
I think it's down in the park.
Oh, Mill Park.
We have got to go down there. Me and you's got to go live on the air one night and try
You
to do
do
it.
not want to see what a train wreck I would be on ice skates.
Well, no, I'd probably break every bone in my body, but I mean, at least we'd have it live, or we at least have to record it.
I might even put my Ric Flair robe on and go around the rink. Oh, I've got one. I don't know if Perry, have you seen my
No, I've never
Ric Flair
seen it.
robe? It's blue and it's got big feathers, white feathers.
Well, I wish I'd have known this. We'd have had you show up here tonight.
I wish I'd known that I would have dressed as Ric Flair tonight.
I always said I wanted my hair getting white like Ric Flair's.
Just remember,
Grant,
Grant.
starting to get that way, and I don't know if I like it that way.
Just
now,
remember,
so.
Grant, to be the
Yes.
man, you got to beat the man,
Beat
baby.
the man. And woo, I'm the man.
That's all I got to
Hey,
say.
Grant, if you guys get a flyer or something put together for this November the 11th event, shoot me a copy of it over so I can get it shared and stuff for you.
10-4, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're supposed to have it. I'm gonna check up on it. I thought I was gonna have it today to get to you and have live on the air and present it, but didn't work out that way. But hopefully, maybe we'll get it tomorrow and I'll get it over to you.
Sounds good, man.
Hey, y'all have a great one. Thanks for having me on, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys soon. Have a good Halloween.
All righty. Happy Halloween to you, bub.
See you. Bye.
Grant Sarl, boys, in his weekly segment. Coming in to give his report on the Morgan County tourism and West Liberty tourism. And
I looked at our FBI most wanted list, and he is at the top of it.
Yeah, Grant is on the most wanted list for the FBI. So I think right underneath this paper right here, I saw earlier, right there it is. There's Grant's name right there. So, Grant, I know you're watching. I already see you've already tuned back in. So the FBI is coming after you.
We get our man. We always do.
Let's see here. What you got over, Matthew? While I'm hunting something up.
I didn't write down a whole lot tonight because,
as you see, I didn't write down anything. So I'm going through some stuff I've seen, over the last 2 weeks and how to save it online or something other just to have.
I was stumbling through some stuff, some research over the weekend, and some of the things that I wrote down were just things that just kind of basically made me think, what are they thinking? One of the things that I wrote down was the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, is currently seeking to overturn a law that increases penalties for prostitutes who sell their services knowing they have HIV. And I thought, what in the world? If they're committing an hideous crime of potentially trying to infect somebody, you would think that would be a top priority of trying to get something passed to make it more severe on these people.
Kind of like premeditated murder.
That's exactly what it is, in my opinion. If you're going to try to, the heightened life that we live under right now, especially after COVID, with everything, you would think they would be trying to ensure that, personal safety to dangerous situations would be a top priority.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to share this one just for Grant. Recently, Ric Flair returns to the ring to go with the retirement of Sting. Sting had his very first match 30 plus years ago with Ric Flair, and Ric Flair is going to be by his side as his final match. So there's the Ric Flair talk that's been going on. What did I have something here a minute ago pulled up. I don't know where the hell it went. But it was talking about in New York. The New York Supreme Court actually ruled in favor of all the workers that had been fired for the COVID vaccine. They have been reinstated into their jobs, and they've all been ordered to have back pay. And that's wonderful. We normally don't have a whole lot of good things to say about New York, don't seem like, but that is wonderful, and those people deserve that. I mean, they deserve everything.
I saw something along the lines of that, Mike. One of the premiers of Canada was one of the first public officials to actually come out and apologize to citizens for all the wrongdoings that were undertaken against them during the COVID pandemic. They apologized to the people for all the things that have been done because, as we well know, we were lied to by Dr. Fauci, the sinister liar, continued to tell people that he had no involvement in gain of function research when documentation has since been provided that he, along with Dr. Barrick, were involved in experiments with monkeys that led to contagious spread of COVID and the gain of function to create a virus that could be lethal and damaging to Americans as well as people globally.
Speaking of function, didn't they find, I think it's one of his NIH lab near Camp David that had some monkeys and bats in it that was infected?
Well, I saw today that Rand Paul is calling for an impeachment inquiry into some of the wrongdoings of Dr. Fauci. Even though he's not a federal employee anymore, he can still be brought before a federal judiciary committee, oversight committee. They can hear testimony, witnesses for and against, and they can render whether or not the Department of Justice should bring charges against this individual.
Wouldn't that fall under?
Now, he is our family doctor. You know that.
Don't that fall under with not just him, but other like doctors and hospitals and everybody?
Yes. Well, you've got people that.
Executive Order 18.
Well, let me say this. I don't want to give people the wrong impression and say that all people that impose these requirements were doing harm, because a lot of those people may have been simply just following specific orders that were passed down from the top down. And in order to keep your job, sometimes you got to do things that may not necessarily be what you believe in, but you do it simply because out of necessity. So I don't think everybody is bad in all of this. I just think he lied to the American public. I think he's being caught up in it. I think there's documentation. I think if he lied, and he lied under oath, he lied in front of an oversight committee. He basically told Senate in a Senate Judiciary meeting that he did not, and we have come to find out that he did, in fact, participate in gain of function research. If he lied under oath, that is perjury. That is a crime that should not go untouched. You know, if it were me or you, Mike, we'd probably be doing time for it.
Not me.
Well, not you. I know you would.
Before Grant called, I had a question come across. Bo Phipps, one of our lovely viewers, he's been one of our viewers for years. He said, "Are we going into World War III? Yes or no, and explain."
Do you want to explain that, or do you want me to explain that?
I'll let you go. You're the history teacher. I was just a history major. So
okay. Well, here's what I would say. Here's my response to that, Bo. I hope for God's sake that we do not go to war. I think war can be prevented if all factions are able to sit down and negotiate and meet people to mediate. There could be a resolution. However, I think sides are being taken. I think people are starting to, one, and I don't mean this being mean, the nation of Turkey, their leader yesterday called out Israel. They have basically denounced Israel, and they have basically said that they would support Hamas if war were to erupt. Well, you've got Vladimir Putin, who has been in China multiple times in the last 2 to 3 weeks. The Chinese and the Russians have kind of aligned themselves together against some of the principles that some of these other countries stand for. Mm-hmm. Now, do I think we're going to go to war? I hope not, but I think with the way things are, that there is potential for something to escalate, and all it's needed is a spark because of our global ties to military alliances like NATO. One country gets involved, we have the need and the desire and the requirement to support our military and strategic allies. Therefore, you got push-pull factors. We're pushed into a war because somebody else or let me put it this way: we're pulled into a war because somebody else is escalated and aggravated to the point where they do something. So I hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me a bit.
I think Rush Limbaugh said it best back in the early '90s when he said, when all these other countries, NATO, whatever, needs pick up the phone, all they do is call 911, which is USA.
Yeah, and it is. They, like I said, we fit the biggest majority of money for that organization. We can't continue to do that. They have to provide some money for their own security. But as long as American taxpayers will not say a word about it, it will continue to be done.
Robert said we were also lied to by Little Andy and Dr. Stack of Shit. Which is, which is accurate.
Well,
Is accurate, but I think Robert should run for governor. You think it's too late for him to be a write-in?
I say we write Robert in.
Well, we were lied to about a lot of things with regards to COVID. We were told that if you get the COVID vaccination, you will not get
COVID.
You will not get COVID. We were told that if you wear a mask and you isolate and you social distance 6 feet, you will not get COVID. We know that some of those things were inaccurate.
Horseshit.
You know.
After that determination, we have determined that was a lie.
Yeah. So you know, I realize they're in the midst of a pandemic, and there is need to take necessary precautions. The only problem is, did the policies that they implemented do more harm than good? Okay, we're gonna keep everybody isolated at home. Well, now we have a mental health crisis. We have kids in schools that are and do have what we would call social issues. They don't like being around big crowds, and they don't like the socialization part of it. So there's negative consequences, And then you had people that were told you can't see your loved ones, people in hospitals, people in rest homes, God forgive them. God forgive them when the truth really comes out.
I think people forget too, though, it was the election infection.
And it was. I mean,
Let's see here. Robert's got a vote. Jody Castle will vote for him. Do you all think that Daniel Cameron can win the governor's race? Take precautions, just don't infringe on someone's rights. I agree with that.
And that's what, you take what happened with COVID is you do have a basic breach of civil liberties. You're telling people you can't go to church. You're telling people that if you go to church, you're going to call out the state police to do what?
To arrest you.
To arrest you,
well, or I would call
to videotape license plates. You've got some issues with this. And I understand that they wanted people to stay at home. However, people have the right and the choice to make decisions that ultimately affect their lives. However, does it infringe upon the government when they deem it detrimental to everybody else? And like I said, I can honestly look at you and tell you, I wore a mask when I was required to wear a mask. When I was by myself or doing my own thing, I didn't wear a mask. I don't think at any time I contracted COVID. I don't think I had it.
But it all went still with all that stuff, mandates, so-called mandates, it all went against the Nuremberg Code. But people don't
well, you look at COVID. They could not give you a test that could distinguish between the common flu, COVID, and pneumonia. So if there's no test to outright determine that this is COVID and this is not something else, it's very, very misleading. But like I said, you got people in their homes, off the streets.
A lot more mail-in ballots.
People probably thinking, well, I wish he'd get off that phone. When you've got about $1,000 in deer hunting cameras that are scattered out on a farm right now, and they're going off like crazy, and you're pretty much getting ready to start the rut, you got to be checking these cameras every time that alarm goes off.
You were talking about mail-in ballots. I read something today that said if you feel safe mailing by or voting by mail, try to put $500
Yeah.
in an envelope
I
and
shared
mail it
that the
to
other day.
yourself and see if it gets back to you if you're so 100% sure.
How many of us would mail cash?
Yeah, I shared that the other day. It was like, how was it worded? Well, yeah, mail yourself $500, and if you're not worried about if you're worried about it not getting back to you, you probably should be voting in person.
Yeah. Well,
and not by mail in. And I agree with that. I mean,
and I understand they took these necessary precautions with early voting to try to keep people from having contact with one another. But at some point, we have to return to normal, and it has to go back to the way it was because you've got some major problems. You talk about mail-in ballots. I read something, and I actually wrote this down, and I'm going to give you this guy's name, and I want you to look his name up. I want you to do your own internet research for yourself. Type in his name. Just type in his name. You don't need me to tell you what he did. His name is Clinton Eugene Curtis. Clinton Eugene Curtis. If you do a search on his name, I promise you will find out that there are some major irregularities going on in this country.
Vote rigging.
Whistleblower testified before Congress on February the 21st, 2023. Under oath was asked if he knew if votes could be changed if you voted by machines. And he said absolutely they can be changed. And I'll tell you why they can absolutely be changed. Because he personally stated that he created and wrote a logarithm and a program for a representative in 2004 that would allow that to happen. American software development. So you can believe whatever you want about election fraud, and people are going to say, well, there you go again, conspiracy theory. What I'm going to look at you and tell you is this gentleman testified before Congress in 2023. That's, if I'm not mistaken, this year. That tells you under oath he could be, if found to be a liar, promoting false information, he could be held liable for perjury. He gave testimony that he created and a logarithm that could change votes in real time. And if you don't believe me, Mike, I printed off the article for you. So there you go.
FBI agent Matthew Perry. Clinton Curtis.
Yes, it comes back to the same thing I've been hearing last year a little bit. It's funny how fact checkers never existed until the truth started leaking out.
I agree. Internet's been around for a long time. There was no need for fact checkers. Now there's all of a sudden a need for fact checkers.
Well, I mean, I agree.
And like I said, I don't want to give anybody any false information. I just found it was very interesting that this gentleman had testified before congressional hearings in 2023, but yet we haven't heard a single word about that.
I agree with what Mark was saying. Ain't it funny that fact checkers never come along until people started telling the truth? Like social media wise, when the truth started coming out on social media and the fact checkers started. I mean, you could have somebody like, let's just say Mark was on Twitter. He could go on Twitter and said, I'm wearing this hat right now. And a fact checker will come on there and say, that is a lie. You are not wearing a hat right now. And it's like, dumb. I mean, some of the stuff that you see on there that they fact check that you've plain as day seen. I think it was Robert earlier had, asked if that AOC video that I shared earlier. My mom sent that video to me live. Like she watched it. It was airing live and then, she flipped it back, recorded it and sent it. So, I mean, that was airing on fake news or mainstream, but still, she's going to get a sample of the sun.
Well, global warming, Mike. Global warming. I'm not going to look at you and tell you that there aren't some potential hazards here in America.
So you're telling me if we're having global warming, walk outside right now and tell me how warm the globe is right now.
Well, I'm not saying we are having or we are not having global warming. What I'm saying is, there are things that we do in our daily lives, and there's things that factories and companies do to contaminate the atmosphere. Now, does it mean that it's going to be detrimental to our health or detrimental to our children's health or detrimental to our grandchildren and so on, so on, so on, so on? I'm not saying that. When you look at data, it's all where you choose to start. If you go back to right around the beginning of civilization in Mesopotamia and what we would call on the Euphrates and Tigris River, and you bring that to today, you'll find that things probably haven't changed that much. But if you go back and check it 10 years ago compared to now, and the data they have, that it's misleading. It's all when you perceive to start your data. Is the earth heating up or is the earth cooling down? Are the water levels rising or are the water levels staying the same? And when we go green, which is something that this administration is pushing, if and when we go green, we're talking about loss of livelihood for a lot of people. We've moved to solar power. These windmills trying to harness power. Those things can't be ran without diesel, some type of diesel engine. So it's misleading. Yeah, we're gathering all this energy source from this windmill, but yet what's propelling that windmill? So it's misleading altogether. So some people think climate change is an absolute hoax. Others see reality in it. I say that, we're spending a lot of money on things to determine if something's going up a temperature degree or three degrees in temperature.
Or for cow farts.
Yeah, for cow farts. They said that methane.
If I'm not mistaken, that was my buddy AOC that even said that the cow farts was what was heating the atmosphere up. And I'm like,
well,
she should come and get a ground blind on a cold morning.
In the morning.
and who am I talking about? You know what I'm saying? But
I just think it's funny that they say stuff about this, but yet they drive SUVs around. Not just one.
Well,
SUV,
airplanes.
They have private jets. If you truly believe this was an issue and you were passionate about it, why would you not apply it to yourself first and lead by example to other people? Instead of pointing your finger to all of us. It's the same thing with guns. We're anti-guns, but we want our bodyguards with guns.
Once again, it goes back to what you stated earlier and what we were talking about in this program. It goes back to an oversight committee. Okay, is all that money being appropriated for global warming research, or is it being sent and shipped somewhere else?
How long has it been since we sent it up in the air? Why are we still funding them all this money? And when's the last time they tried to send something up?
what are you talking about? Oh my God. Let me get Jim Foster on the phone. Let him take good care of you. But no, Robert said in the 70s, they said the Ice Age was coming back in the 70s.
I remember that.
It
is tomorrow.
And I think it's here now. Who was it? Al Gore? One of them in the 90s or something other said that half of Florida or some of them would be underwater by now or whatever. And I think the ocean's risen about
a tenth of an inch. Go to Plymouth Rock and look at Plymouth Rock. They've got the original creation that was there, Plymouth Rock, and you'll see that the water level has not risen any since the inception of Plymouth Rock in 1620. Has not risen.
Well, they used to say
Right,
California was going to drop off the side of the U.S., which it has not.
What is it?
California.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is.
So if
Elon Musk is going to hook it to one of those ships that he's got, the rocket ships. It's going to go to the sun.
Or if the ice caps melt at an accelerated rate, the sea level will rise by about 230 feet, which means coastal areas would be flooded, and thus the interior part of the United States would eventually sink.
And that's happening, like right now, right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying it's happening. I'm saying that's what we're being warned about. You know, my major focus is living my life day to day, focused on the things that I need to focus on. And that is secondary. I don't mean that negative towards that part or that respective area, but it's just irrelevant to me because if it happens, well, we're kind of just up the creek without a paddle. But the likelihood of that happening, if it hasn't happened in the last 150,000 years, pretty rare, in my opinion. It's going to happen. So I just think we're spending a lot of money for unnecessary things. And like I said, you know, there might be people who come on here and say that's a necessity, and they may be able to back that up with a valid point. I'm okay with that. We can agree.
Well, I don't think nobody's going to be able to do a valid point because what are we going to do? Go down here to the Licking River? Because hell, I don't think it's got no water in it. I went to some public hunting land the other day in Rowan County, which is some backwater, you know, off of Cave Run Lake, which is usually full of water. And I actually walked through the creek bed the other day, and it was dry. I mean, we're even though the little bit of rain we got, you know, overnight last night or this yesterday, the rain we've been getting is nothing. I mean, you know, global warming, they holler, you know, is this and that. I mean, yeah, we're dry, but we're also paying for it now. You know, I actually just got a text just now that it's actually snowing here now. So I don't know.
You know what that means? Time to go. It's Christmas time in Kansas City, baby.
I've got my big speaker with me out here in the car. I was playing Halloween music on it tonight, and I said when I get ready to leave, I'm going to kick off Jingle Bells, baby, because that means once Halloween's over, it's Christmas time in Kansas City, baby. So, yeah, I know Thanksgiving's in the middle there, but it's Christmas time. So much. Well, you know what? I'm going to show everybody. Everybody needs to see this, and the ones that haven't seen it yet, you just hang right on. If I can figure out how to do it again. Yeah, hell. A lot of people probably haven't got to hear Matthew sing that yet. It's Christmas time in Kansas City, but I have actually heard the live rendition of that song. And it was pretty good. Let's see here. I want to show everybody this. The ones of them that hasn't seen it anyway. Let me get this pulled up here. Most people here has probably seen it already. It's Halloween, so we've got to have a little bit of fun, but maybe. Let's see here. Here she is. Let's pull up old TikTok here. Oh, shit. Well, I guess we're going to go to TikTok. Hang on just a second here. All right, so let me pull up TikTok and get some sound here. Oh, shit. Now I've lost it. So hang on, guys. I'm going to get TikTok for you. Here we go. Here you go.
I can't hide the way I feel about you anymore. I can't hide the way I feel.
Now, I mean, God, I love those Christmas tree cakes now. I mean, so much, and people laugh at that, so much that I told her days before they were going to hit the shelves, the exact date they was going to hit the shelves. From about last November to now, I have known exactly when they were coming to the shelves, and I counted.
Probably 15 boxes of them. No joke.
Going to hit the shelves, I got 30 boxes of them, and I actually bought some Christmas tree brownies today to go into my collection. You know.
You know, when I saw that TikTok video with that, I thought, and when it's a Travis Tritt song, I Can't Hide the Way I Feel About You Anymore, I thought, this is going to be a romantic, sentimental video. And here you are eating a Christmas cake.
I wish I had one with me right now. I promise you, the table will be full of them on our Christmas episode.
2 boxes over here.
Let's go get us stuff. Halloween.
And when you sing, I can't hide the way I feel
Absolutely
about you
anymore. Hey, did you think he was going to get it? Everybody think he was going to get a concert tonight? I don't love you anymore.
Travis Tritt, man.
Oh, Trav. I get him. He's a patriot.
You dang all right. He's a big supporter of American values.
Grant, if you're still watching, we want Travis Tritt at O'Mill Park next year.
If we can't get him, me and you will perform.
Yeah, that's right.
Go.
Grant, that should be like the end of the summer big finale. Is Travis Tritt? You know, bring Travis Tritt in here. I bet you there won't be no protesters. But
he was at Pikeville not long ago. I think it was at the Ashland. What's that called place? Ashland, Paramount.
I seen him in Ashland a couple years back.
Yeah.
He's on another tour right now, but I think it's an acoustic tour. I would like to see him with his full band. That's what I want to go to. Michelle Vance says, I thought I should have brought you guys candy, but I guess I was thinking wrong. Christmas cakes.
We'll take Christmas cakes. Hey. Bring them over here.
Hey, I can tell you exactly where they're at in IGA. And if you want me to go even deeper in detail, I could tell you where the big boxes of them are. The bigger Christmas tree, because I know where they're at in there too. It's so funny. There was a guy in IGA. He's sitting there. He's there, I think, every Thursday maybe, and he sells some type of insurance. I don't know, some kind of insurance. And he saw me over there grabbing them cakes that day, throwing them in the cart. He said, "Here you go." And he just tossed me one. He said, "I got 3 boxes in the car, so you can have one of these." And he threw me one of his cakes out of his box that he had under his little podium. So, I mean, I'm not the only weirdo when it comes to Christmas tree cakes. Am I a major fan of Christmas? Yeah, it's probably my favorite holiday of all. But it's also the most depressing holiday of them all. But when it comes to Christmas tree cakes, and you could get them at Halloween, and tomorrow being the big day for me, big 3/9. Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Bring me the babies. The babies are here. I can't hide the way I feel about you anymore. I mean, would you like a cake?
Yeah, please one.
Here you go. I'll buy you another. Actually, you can have one of my boxes. I only got about 30. Look here, Michelle's bought her a few boxes too. Look here, we're going to enjoy one. Anybody hasn't seen it, go over to my TikTok, and you will absolutely love. These are the most amazing things that God ever put on this earth. And I do love you anymore. Did you ever think you'd have so much crazy fun on the Halloween episode? I remember Vladimir Zelensky opened the show.
I remember the first Halloween bash.
Pamela Pumpkin.
And we did Dr. Fauci, and you came dressed as Andy Bashir.
And then last year I was Hunter Biden, and you were Joe, wasn't you?
I was Joe.
So this year we've got Detective FBI Agent Perry and Vladimir Zelensky. And if you haven't seen my opening monologue, you need to go back to the beginning and watch. Hell, if you want to see now, I show you my dance moves. One last time. I call that ball buster. Because that hurts watching it. So
and that's more than I wanted to see.
And I'm sorry, Wanda, that you had to see this again. But no, it's been fun. I know what I was going to do now. I went to look at the calendar a minute ago, trying to see when Thanksgiving is. Thanksgiving is the 23rd. So about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks away from the Thanksgiving episode. So everybody knows what happens for the Thanksgiving episodes. That means we will be joined by Mr. Gary Johnson live in person. So this time of year is really fun. This time of year is really fun, man. I mean, we get to come on here and make fun of people pretty much. Get to dress up as some of our favorite characters. Mine's Ben Zelensky. I wish I could just embezzle money the way that he does, the way that I do.
Just have people send it to you.
If I could get a sponsorship for these, I think I'd actually be rich. But now, Gary, I would imagine Gary would still come on. He's come on 2 other years before, so I need to get in contact with him. I was asked tonight about Jim Foster during the nearly 3-month hiatus that you were, under alien invasion, and was taken, into the spaceships. I had Jim Foster on one night. That was interesting. He actually said, he would like to come on and do a monthly episode. I don't think I'm going to do another Jim Foster, Gary Johnson episode. That didn't work out too well last time. So I'll either maybe try to have Jim on the week before or the week after the Gary episode. Local stuff. I had a guy tonight say he wanted to do some local talk stuff. So if Grant's watching, you may want to contact me after we go off the air on that one. Because it could get a little out of hand. I did. A lot of people know I've talked about the religious folks in the park. I was contacted by one of them and have been requested to do a show. So, that is a possibility in the world. I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming up. I mean, we've got a lot of fun things coming up. Like I said, Gary will be on. Santa Claus will be here in a few weeks. Travis Tritt will be here, maybe, because they can't hide the way I feel.
You need guitar.
I'll tell you, if you love these little fellas, you'll absolutely love the chocolate ones. Because the chocolate ones are, I don't know, I'm about to think the chocolate ones may be a little better than those. Got anything?
No, I'm good. It's been interesting.
Been fun, been interesting. Like I said, if you didn't get a catch the Vladimir Zelensky opening monologue, go back to the beginning and watch it. It was fun. I really enjoyed playing Vladimir Zelensky. And I now know that the American men love watching my package. So you will learn a little about that if you watch the opening monologue. Happy Halloween to everybody. If you don't celebrate Halloween, fuck you. That's all I can say. But no, it's been fun. Everybody have a safe rest of the night. Stay warm.
Yeah.
It's going to be cold tonight. I mean, try to stay warm, bundle up. If you're do what you got to do to stay warm. In the next few days, it's going to be a little cool. Take care of yourself. I mean, we got the biggest part of the big holidays are coming up. We definitely want everybody to stay healthy, during the 2 biggest holidays of the year. When do you think we'll be back?
Anytime you want.
Anytime. We'll be back tomorrow night, guys. No, I'm just kidding. We'll figure something out and get back. I mean, we'll either do weekly or do bi-weekly. Like I said, I mean, right now it's been a bi-weekly the last 2 weeks. We've done pretty decent on our viewership, so we may stay there and then do a local thing maybe in the middle. I don't know. We'll figure something out. And then we've got these holiday episodes coming up, which should be fun. Maybe we can actually get the real Santa Claus in here this year. And Santa is real for you all that want to protest. But take care of yourself, stay warm, and we'll talk to you guys next time. It's really been fun. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you later.